What's up, YouTube? Courtship is probably the most important component of any relationship, especially between black men and women, and especially if you're even considering getting married or being in any sort of long-term relationship. Now, most people don't understand what courtship is and the different parts of courtship. Now, courtship begins when two people decide that they want to work things out, right? They haven't decided to enter a relationship where you have a boyfriend and a girlfriend, but they're deciding to work things out. So what does that mean, right? We all reach a point where, we're out talking to people, meeting new people, going out here, having conversations here. But when we find somebody serious or somebody who may have potential, what do we do? Or what should you do? You have to pretty much make the decision that you're going to focus on that person and remove other people. So it's the whole idea of being involved, right? You know, when you talk to somebody and somebody asks you, are you in a relationship? And you say, well, we're not together, but we're involved. Okay? That's what that means. And the reason why you need to cut off other girls and guys that may be interested in you or you interested in them is because dating is nothing more than an experiment. Will it work? Right? It's an experiment. And you have to control variables and get rid of variables that may corrupt the experiment. So eventually you have to reach a point in time where you're going to work on seeing if this person is even worthy of entering a relationship with, right? You have to. There comes a point in time where it's okay to talk to somebody and also be talking to other people. But then there's a point where you have to say, okay, I'm going to be exclusively talking to you and you alone. And it has to be mutual. Because you have to remove outside variables that can corrupt what you're trying to do. Okay? And once you make that choice, the choice to see if it's going to work, you have just entered the courtship phase. Now, personally, I feel like you should at least take a month or two to know somebody before you enter a boyfriend-girlfriend type relationship. And what I mean to know somebody, you're not going to know everything there is to know about somebody. That takes years. But what you can know is what somebody claims to stand for, what somebody claims to be about. And I use the word claim, and I want to highlight that. Because you're not going to know that person. All you can really know is what they want you to think of them. Okay, so during that month or so, you're talking about what you value, what you do, what you don't do, where you want to go, how hard you work, how clean you are, how close you are to your family, right? So you're telling somebody what you want them to know. You're selling yourself, so to speak. Okay? So after a month or so, you collect that information and you say, okay, I think I want to enter a relationship with you. So now we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Now, during the whole boyfriend and girlfriend stage, which should last anywhere from a year, 2, maybe even 3, all you're doing, okay, is verifying that they are keeping true to their word. So, remember when she told you she doesn't go out and she doesn't drink, right? Well, during that 1 year to 3 years, you're checking to see how accurate that statement was, right? Did she fall off, or is she constantly breaking her word? Did she have an accident here and there, or is she constantly going out and drinking, which completely contradicts what she told you, right? With the women, it's can he keep a steady job? Right? He said he values work and he values career. So you're going to see, Does he have a steady employment history, or is he always in and out of work? Or is he getting fired? Is he late? So you're looking, right? He said he had good work habits. So all you're doing from that 1 to 2 years or 3 years is looking, right? You're watching him literally get up every day and go to work and come home. So the whole process is nothing more than continuing to understand that person, but what you're doing is just verifying everything they said, right? And the key is to see how much they change when things go wrong, or you get into a fight, or something bad happens, right? Who do they become when things aren't going their way, right? Where does God come into play? Where does their spirituality come into play when things don't go according to plan, right? So you're looking at all this stuff, and the whole time you're looking back. What did they tell me when we first met? That's all you're doing. Hey, she told me she wouldn't cuss. She told me she wouldn't be vindictive. She told me she wouldn't, wild out, right? And you're looking to see, is she holding up? Yeah, okay. So after a while, like I said, you do this for a year, 2, even 3. And then once you reach that point, you can honestly start to consider the whole idea of spending the rest of your life with that person. It's not a guarantee. I'm not saying it's going to work. But you can then begin to start to tackle the whole idea of marriage, because you feel like that person has held up their end of the bargain. You feel like that person is a man or woman of his or her word. Okay? She actually is solid. She's not wavering. He's not wavering. He's not only as good as the conditions around him. Right? If he's a good person, he's going to be that way when it's raining, when it's snowing, when it's windy, when it's hot, when it's humid. Right? So after you can feel comfortable with that, then you can contemplate the whole idea of marriage. But the mistake that most people make is they rush into things, okay? They don't really know who this person is because they never really asked. So they really can't reference anything. They really can't look back and, double check. Is this what they claim to be? And all of a sudden, you're in a weird relationship, and you assume that because you've been together for a couple of months that you should just get married, right? We've been together for a year or 2. Why not just get married? What is he waiting for? Right? Well, he doesn't really know you, and if he doesn't really know you or trust you, then why would you feel like you know him or you could trust him? It kind of works both ways. Because the way I feel, it's almost natural. Right? It may seem a little bit forced in the beginning, but if you really take the time to tell somebody who you are, right? Really tell them who you are, to the point where, like I said, it may seem a little bit, right, like an interview. It would really go a long way, because even then you will lay out standards for yourself, because you don't want to look like somebody who went back on their word, right? So in a sense, it forces you to self-reflect, because you dare not put out something, right, lie about who you are, and later on be exposed for a liar. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit down and make sure that you come correct, right? Because you're already aware that, the next year or 2, he's going to be verifying who I am. She's going to be verifying who I am. So it's a win-win for both sides. So, you guys tell me what you feel. Please add or tell me where I went wrong, and take it easy, and God bless.